What if I told you that all the life we know, animals, plants, fungi, and even bacteria, might only be part of the story? That long before humans even existed, Earth may have been home to an entirely different branch of life, so alien that its biology doesn't even fit into the categories we know. A fourth branch. Not bacteria, not archaea, not eukaryotes. Something else. And here's the kicker. It's gone. Extinct. Erased by time. But the evidence of its existence is starting to reappear, like ancient whispers coming back to life from the deepest corners of the fossil record and the most unlikely places on Earth. The discovery could change everything we thought we knew about biology, evolution, and even life on other planets. For decades, the tree of life has had three main trunks: bacteria, archaea, and eukaryotes. Bacteria, the most ancient and simplest form. Archaea, similar but distinct, often thriving in extreme environments. And eukaryotes, the more complex forms, everything from mushrooms to whales. But now scientists believe that there may have once been a fourth domain, a separate lineage that branched off early in Earth's biological history and flourished for hundreds of millions of years before mysteriously disappearing. This is the story of that forgotten world, the fourth domain of life, and how traces of its existence are slowly being uncovered. It started not with a fossil, but with a mystery in some of the oldest sediments on Earth, dating back over 1 billion years. Scientists found microfossils, teeny, preserved remnants of ancient organisms that didn't resemble anything we know. Their shapes were bizarre. Some looked like spirals wrapped in loops, others like clustered networks of bubbles, and a few had geometries that bordered on mathematical perfection, almost too precise to be random. At first, these were dismissed as mineral formations or distorted bacterial remains, but as imaging technology advanced, a different picture emerged. These weren't just mineral anomalies, they were cells. But what kind of cells? Under the microscope, these cells lacked the characteristics of bacteria. They didn't have rigid walls or the same biochemical signatures. They weren't fungi, plants, or animals. They weren't viruses. Their membranes, internal structures, and even their chemical residues were fundamentally different. And that's when the whispers began in the scientific community. What if this was evidence of an unknown domain of life? The term shadow biosphere was coined to describe the possibility that life, especially in its earliest forms, may have evolved in more than one direction. Maybe our biology, the kind that dominates Earth today, was just one of multiple ancient experiments in evolution. One took off, the others vanished. Or maybe they didn't vanish at all. Maybe they're hiding in plain sight. In 2015, researchers working in the Canadian Arctic discovered strange organisms and permafrost layers dated to over 600 million years ago. These weren't fossils. They were preserved organic remnants, some with intact cell walls. Their chemistry was all wrong. Their ribosomal RNA, a molecular fingerprint for identifying life forms, couldn't be classified into any known group. Not bacteria, not archaea, not even a hybrid. These samples were so alien, scientists began comparing them to hypothetical extraterrestrial life. But they were from Earth, and they were old. Then came the biggest clue yet. In a cave system in Australia, researchers found what they thought were ancient stromatolites-layered structures built by microbial colonies. These stromatolites were over 900 million years old. But when scanned with synchrotron radiation and atomic force microscopy, their internal structure revealed something no one expected: symmetry, complex and distinct metabolic pathways that did not match any known biosignature. The isotopic ratios of carbon and sulfur within these structures pointed to a unique form of metabolism, neither photosynthetic nor chemosynthetic, but something entirely separate. It was as if these ancient organisms had evolved a fourth way to process energy, and then they were gone. So what happened to this fourth branch of life? How could something so unique, so widespread in Earth's early history, disappear without a trace? That's where the story turns darker. Around 450 to 400 million years ago, Earth went through one of the most dramatic extinction events in its history. The Ordovician extinction. It wiped out over 85% of marine species. Sea levels fluctuated violently. Global temperatures dropped. Glaciers formed and then melted. Ocean chemistry changed completely. Oxygen levels plummeted. If the fourth domain was primarily aquatic, and early evidence suggests it might have been especially vulnerable to these rapid shifts, unlike bacteria or archaea, which can survive extreme conditions by adapting rapidly or going dormant. This unknown lineage may have relied on more fragile biochemical pathways, ones we no longer see in the living world. In other words, it may have lacked the evolutionary resilience of the other domains, so it died. Every last branch, leaf, and twig of its tree, gone. Or at least that's what we thought. Then came a moment that shook biology to its core. In 2022, a genetic analysis of bizarre oceanic microbes collected during a deep-sea expedition in the Mariana Trench revealed something unprecedented. Inside these cells were genes that didn't exist anywhere else in the known genetic record, not even as distant relatives. The enzymes these genes coded for weren't just new, they were chemically impossible under current biological models. They violated known rules of protein folding. They used different bonding patterns. They were, in a word, alien. Some researchers speculated these were either signs of horizontal gene transfer from long extinct, more radically that they were the biochemical ghosts of a fourth domain, hiding inside modern life. Like a forgotten language embedded in a scroll of DNA. This revelation launched a new era of research. Scientists began sifting through ancient sediments, analyzing carbon isotopes, and reconstructing hypothetical metabolisms. A team in France managed to simulate what this fourth domain cell membrane might have looked like based on lipid residues from shale formations over 800 million years old. The model they created didn't match any known lipid bilayer from existing cells. It was more flexible, more adaptable to high-pressure, low-oxygen environments, but also less stable over time. It could explain why these organisms didn't survive the massive environmental upheaval of the late Ordovician. And here's the most mind-blowing part. If this fourth branch evolved independently from the others, and if it developed complex then our traditional view of life as inevitable progression from single-celled to complex organisms might. Life didn't follow one path. It followed many. Some succeeded. Others vanished. The fact that we, as eukaryotes, are here today might be nothing more than evolutionary luck. Now let's widen the lens even more. If Earth once hosted a now extinct lineage of life so alien we can barely recognize its traces, what does that say about the possibility of life elsewhere in the universe? For decades, astrobiologists have looked for life that resembles us, life that uses DNA, that metabolizes carbon, that fits into our narrow understanding of biology. But what if we've been looking for the wrong signs? What if alien life isn't just out there, it's already been here? What if we missed it? There's a growing belief among scientists that Earth may have once been home to 2, 3, or even more one dominant, the others hidden or erased. The fourth domain could be the first proven case. Some even theorize that this lineage didn't evolve on Earth. It all but arrived here, seeded by ancient meteorites, carrying primitive life forms from Mars or beyond. Panspermia, once a fringe theory, is being revisited with fresh eyes. And still, new clues keep. In 2024, a sample collected from hydrothermal vents in the Arctic Ocean revealed molecular residues that appear to mimic life, but don't conform to known biological rules. These molecules self-organize, replicate under heat gradients, and respond to environmental stimuli. They're not alive by our definition, but they may represent the final whispers of a life form we lost. The mystery deepens with every discovery, a forgotten chapter of Earth's history, written not in stone or bone, but in the fading echoes of cells long gone. We're now in a race against time, against erosion, tectonics, and decado, understand what came before us, because buried in those secrets may lie the answers to the greatest questions of all. How common is life? How many ways can it evolve? And are we really alone? This fourth branch of life, extinct, elusive, and mysterious, may never give up all its secrets. But each discovery brings us closer to understanding that the universe is far more complex and far more alive than we ever imagined. If this story blew your mind, you're not alone. The forgotten life forms of Earth's past could rewrite biology as we know it, and to reshape our search for life beyond our planet. So if you want to stay ahead of the curve and dive deeper into the cosmic unknown, make sure you like this video, subscribe to Beyond Stars, and ring that bell icon. We've only just begun to uncover the lost legacies of life on Earth. And trust me, what comes next will change everything.